The massive alien ships appeared above Earth like dark clouds blocking out the sun. Commander Vexithala stood on the bridge of her flagship and smiled as she watched the blue planet slowly turn below them. Her red eyes gleamed with satisfaction as she counted the hundreds of warships in her invasion fleet. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 43 worlds in the past century, and Earth would be number 44. How pathetic, she said to her second-in-command. Look at this primitive world. They still use chemical rockets to reach their own moon. This will be over in hours. The intelligence reports had been clear. Earth was home to a species called humans who had barely developed basic space travel. They fought with metal bullets and explosive devices. Their largest weapons could destroy cities but nothing more. The Zephyrians had energy weapons that could crack planets in half. Commander Vexithala had requested this assignment personally. After spending years fighting the stubborn Krell resistance in the Outer Rim, she wanted an easy victory. Her soldiers deserved a simple conquest after their recent losses. Earth looked perfect for boosting morale. On Luna Station, Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the proximity alarm started screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the command center, where his crew was staring at their screens in shock. Hundreds of red dots had appeared on their sensors, far too large to be asteroids or space debris. "Sir, we're reading massive energy signatures," reported Lieutenant Collins. "Whatever those things are, they're definitely not human." Jake grabbed the communication headset and opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Luna Station to Earth Control. We have unknown contacts approaching Earth, requesting immediate instructions." The response came quickly from Admiral Paul Rodriguez. "Luna Station, we see them too. Every telescope on Earth is tracking incoming bogies. We count at least 300 vessels of unknown design." Jake looked at his small crew of 12 people. Luna Station was designed to monitor space traffic and provide early warning of asteroid threats. It had no weapons beyond a few small defensive cannons meant for shooting space debris. Against hundreds of alien warships, they might as well throw rocks. "Admiral, should we evacuate the station?" Jake asked. "Negative, Captain. We need you to maintain observation and relay data. Stay at your post." On Earth, Dr. Lisa Carter was working late in her laboratory when her assistant burst through the door. "Doctor, you need to see the news right now." Lisa looked up from her microscope where she had been studying extremophile bacteria. As Earth's leading expert on potential alien life, she had spent years preparing for this moment. She had written papers about what first contact might look like and how humanity should respond. Now it was actually happening. The news showed grainy telescope images of the alien fleet. Military experts were already calling it an invasion force based on the ship's formation and approach vector. Lisa felt her heart racing as she realized everything was about to change. President Helen Brooks was rushed from her dinner with foreign diplomats to the White House Situation Room. The room filled quickly with military advisors, scientists, and intelligence officials. Everyone spoke at once until the president raised her hand for silence. "Give me the facts," she said simply. General Martinez pulled up a holographic display showing Earth surrounded by red dots. "Madam President, we have confirmation of alien vessels in Earth orbit. Our best estimate is 300 ships ranging from destroyer to battleship size. They appeared simultaneously, suggesting advanced faster-than-light travel." "Any communication attempts?" President Brooks asked. "We've tried every frequency and mathematical sequence we can think of," replied Dr. Kim from the Space Agency. "No response so far." On the Zephyrian flagship, Commander Vexithala was reviewing the final invasion plans. Her tactical officers had identified all major human military installations, population centers, and communication hubs. The plan was simple: destroy Earth's ability to coordinate resistance, then demand surrender. "Commander, we're receiving primitive radio transmissions from the planet," reported Communications Officer Zektar. "They appear to be attempting contact." Vexithala laughed. "Ignore them. We'll speak when they're ready to surrender." She turned to her weapons officer. "Prepare a demonstration. Target those asteroids near their moon. Let them see what real power looks like." Back on Luna Station, Jake watched in horror as brilliant energy beams lanced out from the alien fleet. 3 large asteroids that had been tracked by Earth astronomers for decades simply vanished in flashes of light. The power required for such destruction was beyond anything humans had ever created. "Dear God," whispered Lieutenant Collins. "They just vaporized the Henderson asteroids like they were made of paper." Jake opened the channel to Earth again. "Earth Control, did you see that?" We saw at Luna Station. They're sending us a message. The message came 30 minutes later on every radio frequency, television channel, and internet connection on Earth. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. Commander Vexithala's voice echoed across the planet in broken human languages. Humans of Earth. I am Commander Vexithala of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world is now claimed by our empire. You have 24 hours to surrender your governments and military forces. Comply and your deaths will be quick. Resist and your species will suffer. This is your only warning. The transmission ended and Earth fell silent for a moment. Then the responses began. President Brooks was the first to reply. Standing before cameras in the White House, she looked directly into the lens and spoke words that would echo across the galaxy. To the alien commander who thinks Earth will surrender, you don't know us very well. Humanity has never bowed to tyrants and we're not starting today. You want our planet? Come and take it. Similar messages came from every major nation on Earth. The response was unanimous. Defiance. On Luna Station, Jake gathered his crew in the small briefing room. They all knew they would likely be the first to die when the fighting started. Their families were on Earth and their duty was clear. Anyone who wants to evacuate in the emergency pods can leave now, Jake said. No shame in it. But I'm staying to do my job. Not one person left their post. Commander Vexithala received the human responses with amusement. She had expected fear and quick surrender. Instead, she got declarations of war from a species that barely had laser weapons. She almost felt sorry for them. Begin the invasion, she ordered. Show them what happens when primitives challenge the Zephyrian Empire. As alien landing ships began descending toward Earth's major cities, Jake Morrison took one last look at the blue planet below and whispered a prayer for his species. Neither he nor Commander Vexithala knew that this moment would change the galaxy forever. The first Zephyrian dropships landed in major cities around Earth exactly 24 hours after the ultimatum. Commander Vexithala expected to receive surrender broadcasts within minutes. Instead, the humans opened fire immediately. In New York City, the alien ships touched down in Central Park and began deploying troops. The Zephyrian soldiers wore advanced armor and carried energy weapons that could punch through concrete walls. They moved in perfect formation, just like they had on 43 other conquered worlds. Colonel Amy Foster had been waiting for them. She commanded the 82nd Airborne Division and had spent the last day turning Manhattan into a fortress. Her soldiers hid in buildings, sewers, and rooftops with orders to make every street a battlefield. The Zephyrians advanced toward the city center expecting token resistance. Instead, explosions erupted from every direction. Human soldiers appeared from nowhere, fired their primitive weapons, then vanished before the aliens could respond. Buildings collapsed on alien formations. Streets exploded under their feet. This is not how conquered species behave, muttered Captain Zorak as his patrol took cover behind a destroyed car. His energy rifle could kill a human with one shot, but he could not hit targets that refused to stand still. Amy Foster watched the battle from her command post in a subway tunnel. Her radio crackled with reports from units across the city. The aliens were stronger and better armed, but they fought like they expected humans to line up and surrender. They had never faced an enemy that treated every building as a fortress and every street as a trap. Delta Company, hit their left flank, then fall back to position 7, she ordered. Charlie Company, wait until they follow Delta, then hit them from behind. The same pattern repeated in every major city on Earth. The Zephyrians had overwhelming firepower, but humans refused to fight fair. In London, British forces flooded subway tunnels to trap alien soldiers underground. In Tokyo, Japanese defenders used the city's complex underground network to appear and disappear like ghosts. Lieutenant Commander Rick Torres was aboard the USS Hornet when the space battle began. Earth's navy was pathetically small compared to the alien fleet. But Rick had an idea that was either brilliant or insane. Captain, request permission to ram the enemy flagship, he said over the communication system. Negative, Torres. That's suicide. Sir, our missiles barely scratch their shields, but their flagship is hanging right over New York. If we load the Hornet with every explosive we have and ram it at full speed, we might punch through. The captain was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke again. Do it, son. Make it count. Rick gathered volunteers for what everyone knew was a one-way mission. To his surprise, his entire crew volunteered. They spent 2 hours loading the ship with every missile, torpedo, and explosive device they could find. The USS Hornet became a flying bomb. Commander Vexithala was reviewing battle reports when her sensors detected the small human ship accelerating toward her flagship. She laughed at the foolish gesture. Human weapons could not penetrate Zephyrian shields. "Commander, the human vessel is not firing weapons," reported her tactical officer. "It appears to be on a collision course." "Destroy it," Vexithala ordered. Energy beams lanced out from the flagship, but Rick had disabled all safety systems. The Hornet was moving faster than any human ship had ever traveled. The alien weapons hit but could not stop the ship's momentum. The collision was visible from Earth's surface. The USS Hornet struck the Zephyrian flagship's shield generator at maximum speed and exploded with the force of a small nuclear weapon. For the first time in Zephyrian history, their shields failed. Secondary explosions rippled through the flagship as human explosives detonated inside the hull. Vexithala was thrown across her bridge as emergency alarms screamed throughout the ship. Her mighty flagship, which had never been damaged in dozens of battles, was crippled by a suicidal human attack. "Damage report," she screamed. "Shield generators destroyed, main weapons offline, hull breaches on 12 decks," came the reply. "We need immediate repairs." On Earth, Dr. Steve Walsh was working frantically in his laboratory at MIT. He had managed to retrieve pieces of a crashed Zephyrian fighter and was trying to understand their technology. What he discovered amazed him. The aliens were definitely more advanced than humans, but their technology was not impossible to understand. Their energy weapons worked on principles similar to human lasers, just much more powerful. Their shields used electromagnetic fields that could be disrupted if humans knew the right frequencies. "Lisa, come look at this," he called to his assistant. "I think I found something important." Dr. Walsh had been running computer simulations for hours. The alien shields that seemed impenetrable could be disrupted by specific radio frequencies. It was like finding the exact note that could shatter a wine glass. "If we can build transmitters powerful enough, we might be able to bring down their shields," he explained excitedly. Meanwhile, Marine Sergeant Danny Clark was learning that urban warfare was very different when the enemy could fly. His unit was defending downtown Los Angeles when Zephyrian aircraft began strafing human positions. Danny had an idea. His men began setting up mirrors and reflective surfaces throughout the city. When alien fighters dove to attack, focused sunlight from dozens of mirrors hit their sensors simultaneously. The pilots could not see, and several crashed into buildings. These aliens might be advanced, but they still need to see where they're going, Danny told his squad as they watched another enemy fighter crash into a skyscraper. The ground fighting continued for days. Humans could not match alien firepower, but they could make every victory cost more than the aliens expected. Zephyrian soldiers found that conquering a city meant fighting for every room in every building. Colonel Amy Foster's tactics spread to resistance fighters worldwide. Humans learned to attack supply lines, communication equipment, and landing ships. They used captured alien weapons when possible, and turned the invaders' own technology against them. After 1 week of fighting, Commander Vexithala faced a situation she had never encountered. Her invasion force was winning but taking heavy casualties. The humans refused to surrender even when defeated. They just fell back and continued fighting from new positions. "Commander, we have lost 12% of our ground forces," reported her aide. "The humans are using unconventional tactics that our training never covered." Vexithala stared at the tactical display showing Earth. Red zones marked areas under Zephyrian control, but blue zones showed continued human resistance. No conquered species had ever fought this hard or this long. "Request reinforcements from the Fleet Reserve," she ordered reluctantly, "and send a message to the Galactic Council. This conquest is taking longer than expected." For the first time in her military career, Commander Vexithala was beginning to doubt victory was certain. 3 weeks after the invasion began, everything changed. Dr. Steve Walsh finally cracked the secret of Zephyrian shield technology while working in his underground laboratory. He had been studying captured alien equipment day and night, surviving on coffee and determination. "I've got it," he shouted to his team. "The shield frequency rotates every 30 seconds, but there's a 2-second gap during the transition. If we can time our attacks perfectly, we can punch right through." His discovery came at the perfect moment. Earth's military forces had been pushed back to defensive positions around major cities. The aliens controlled most of the planet's surface, but humans still held key strategic points and refused to surrender. Kate Phillips had been captured during the first week of fighting when Zephyrian forces overran her airbase in Nevada. She was a skilled engineer who had worked on experimental aircraft before the invasion. The aliens kept her alive because they needed human prisoners for interrogation. Kate spent 2 weeks in a Zephyrian prison ship, pretending to be a helpless civilian while secretly observing everything around her. She memorized the layout of alien technology and learned how their systems worked. When Marine commandos raided the prison ship, she was ready with valuable intelligence. Their computers use quantum processing, but the interface is surprisingly simple, she explained to Dr. Walsh after her rescue. I think we can adapt their systems to work with our equipment. Working together, Kate and Dr. Walsh began the most important project in human history. They had pieces of alien technology, captured weapons, and detailed observations of how Zephyrian systems operated. Their goal was to create hybrid human-alien weapons that could fight the invaders on equal terms. Captain Roy Jenkins commanded the EFS Defiance, one of Earth's few remaining warships. His ship had been badly damaged in the first space battles and was being repaired in a hidden base on the far side of the moon. When Dr. Walsh contacted him with news about the shield breakthrough, Roy knew this was humanity's chance to strike back. How long do you need to modify our weapons? Roy asked during the secure video call. Give me 48 hours and I can retrofit your entire ship, Dr. Walsh replied. But you'll only get one chance. The aliens will figure out our trick after the first attack. Roy gathered his crew of 200 sailors and explained the situation. They would attack the main Zephyrian fleet in Earth orbit, using modified weapons that had never been tested in real combat. The odds of survival were almost zero, but they might be able to damage the alien fleet enough to give Earth a fighting chance. Anyone who wants to transfer to ground forces can do so now, Roy announced. This mission is completely voluntary. Not a single crew member left their post. Major Beth Taylor was leading the 15th Fighter Squadron from a hidden airfield in Montana. Her pilots had been fighting a hopeless battle against superior alien aircraft for 3 weeks. Most of her squadron was dead and their conventional weapons barely scratched enemy ships. When word came that Dr. Walsh had developed new weapons, Beth immediately volunteered her remaining pilots for the most dangerous mission possible. They would escort the EFS Defiance during its attack on the alien fleet, knowing that most of them would not survive. We've been dying slowly for 3 weeks, she told her pilots during their final briefing. Now we get to die fighting back. The counterattack began at dawn on Earth's eastern coast. The EFS Defiance emerged from behind the moon with its weapons modified according to Dr. Walsh's specifications. Roy Jenkins stood on the bridge watching hundreds of alien ships floating in Earth orbit like vultures. All stations, this is the captain, he announced over the ship's communication system. Today we find out if humans can learn to fight like aliens. The Defiance opened fire with its modified weapons just as the Zephyrian shields entered their transition phase. For 2 seconds, the alien flagship was completely vulnerable. Human weapons that had bounced harmlessly off alien shields for weeks suddenly punched through like paper. Commander, Vexithala felt her ship shake under the impact of human weapons that should not have been able to touch her. Explosions rippled through the flagship as systems failed throughout the vessel. Her bridge filled with smoke and emergency alarms. How are they penetrating our shields? She screamed at her tactical officer. Unknown, Commander. Their weapons appear to be modified with our own technology. The impossible was happening. Human weapons were destroying Zephyrian ships that had seemed invincible just hours before. The Defiance carved through the alien formation like a knife, followed by Beth Taylor's fighters striking targets of opportunity. On the ground, General Frank Moore launched coordinated attacks using captured alien weapons that his engineers had modified. Human soldiers who had been hiding in ruins and underground tunnels emerged with energy rifles and plasma grenades taken from dead aliens. The Zephyrians had never faced an enemy that could adapt their technology so quickly. Every weapon they lost became a tool in human hands within days. Every ship that crashed became a source of spare parts for human engineers. Chief Engineer Ron Hayes was working in a converted subway station that had become Earth's primary weapons development facility. He had teams of mechanics and engineers taking apart alien equipment and rebuilding it to work with human systems. The aliens build everything to last forever, he explained to visiting military officers. They never expected anyone to modify their designs. We can actually improve their weapons by making them more efficient. Ron's teams were creating hybrid weapons that combined human innovation with alien technology. Their modified energy rifles had better range than the originals. Their improved plasma grenades created larger explosions. They were turning Zephyrian engineering against itself. The space battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the EFS Defiance was a burning wreck but still operational. Half of Beth Taylor's fighters had been destroyed, but they had accomplished something impossible. The mighty Zephyrian fleet was crippled and retreating to a higher orbit. Commander Vexthala surveyed the damage to her invasion force with growing horror. She had lost 40 ships and thousands of soldiers to an enemy that was supposed to surrender in hours. Worse, the humans were clearly learning to use Zephyrian technology, better than the Zephyrians themselves. "Send an emergency message to the Galactic Council," she ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements and warn them that these humans are not a primitive species. They are something else entirely." For the first time in 3,000 years of Zephyrian expansion, an invasion force was asking for help against a supposedly inferior enemy. The message that reached the Galactic Council would shock the civilized galaxy and change everything they thought they knew about warfare. Earth had not just survived the first phase of invasion. Humanity had learned to fight back and was winning. The emergency message from Commander Vexithala reached the Galactic Council headquarters on the planet Zentara within hours. Council leader Quanthari read the report 3 times before calling an immediate emergency session. In 3,000 years of recorded galactic history, no species had ever forced the Zephyrian Empire to request reinforcements. "This cannot be accurate," declared Council member Thekmore from his floating platform. "The intelligence reports clearly stated that humans were a primitive species with basic technology." Quanthari activated the holographic display showing the latest updates from Earth. The images were shocking. Human soldiers were using modified Zephyrian weapons with devastating effectiveness. Captured alien ships were being rebuilt with hybrid technology that seemed to work better than the originals. "The Zephyrians are not known for exaggeration," Quanthari replied grimly. "If Commander Vexithala says these humans are dangerous, we must take her seriously." General Korthon, the Council's military advisor, had been studying the reports all morning. His species, the Draknari, had fought the Zephyrians to a standstill centuries ago before joining the galactic community. He understood military strategy better than most council members. "The problem is not that humans are winning," he explained to the assembled delegates. "The problem is how quickly they are learning. Look at these timeline reports. They went from being helpless against Zephyrian shields to penetrating them in just 3 weeks." The council chamber fell silent as delegates absorbed this information. Species typically took decades or centuries to develop new military technology. The fastest recorded adaptation had been the Krell resistance, which took 6 months to modify captured weapons. Humans were doing it in days. On Earth, Commander Sam Mitchell was interrogating captured Zephyrian officers in a secure facility beneath the Pentagon. Sam had been a military intelligence officer before the invasion and was now Earth's primary source of information about galactic civilization. "Tell me about the Galactic Council," Sam said to Captain Zorak, who had been captured during the failed assault on New York. "You cannot comprehend the scope of galactic civilization," Zorak replied arrogantly. "There are thousands of species spread across millions of worlds. The Zephyrian Empire alone controls over 200 star systems." Sam made notes carefully. Each interrogation revealed more about the galaxy beyond Earth. Humans were not facing a single alien species but an entire civilization that had existed for millennia. The implications were staggering. "How many species belong to this Galactic Council?" Sam asked. 47 major species and hundreds of minor ones," Zorak answered. "Your primitive world would be nothing more than a footnote in galactic history." Dr. Nancy Green was working in a different facility, leading the team trying to understand Zephyrian faster than light travel. She had been Earth's top theoretical physicist before the invasion, and was now humanity's best hope for reaching the stars. "The principles are actually elegant," she explained to her research team. "They fold spacetime using exotic matter to create shortcuts between distant points. We understood the theory, we just never had the materials to build the technology." Nancy's team had been studying the drive systems from captured Zephyrian ships. The aliens used a substance that humans had only theorized about in advanced physics papers. With actual samples to analyze, human scientists were making breakthrough discoveries every day. How long before we can build our own faster-than-light ships? Asked General Martinez during his weekly briefing with the science teams. Give me 6 months and I can modify a human ship with Zephyrian drive technology, Nancy replied. Give me a year and I can build something better than what the aliens have. Back on Zentara, the Galactic Council was receiving increasingly disturbing reports. A Zephyrian supply convoy had been ambushed by human ships using modified alien technology. 3 Zephyrian cruisers had been destroyed by weapons that should not have existed. The humans are not just adapting our technology, reported Intelligence Director Veltar during the emergency session. They are improving it. Our own engineers cannot explain how they are achieving better performance from Zephyrian designs. Council member Shen Dai from the Peaceful Altarian Federation spoke up nervously. What does this mean for galactic security? If humans can improve Zephyrian military technology, what happens when they develop their own starships? The question hung in the air like a threat. The Zephyrian Empire had maintained galactic peace through superior military force for centuries. If humans could match or exceed their technology, the balance of power would shift dramatically. General Corthan pulled up classified reports about human behavior during the invasion. The most concerning factor is their reproduction rate and population growth. Humans breed faster than any known intelligent species. They have over 7 billion individuals on a single planet. Several council members gasped. Most advanced species had populations of a few 100 million, spread across multiple worlds. The idea of 7 billion intelligent beings on one planet was almost incomprehensible. They also display unprecedented aggression and adaptability, Corthan continued. Every military doctrine says that inferior species should surrender when faced with overwhelming force. Humans instead became more dangerous when threatened. On Earth, President Helen Brooks was meeting with her military advisors about the next phase of the conflict. Human forces had stabilized their defensive positions and were now planning counterattacks using captured alien technology. Madam President, we have confirmed that at least 12 intact Zephyrian ships are now under human control, reported Admiral Rodriguez. Our engineers are studying their navigation systems and star charts. What do those star charts tell us? President Brooks asked. They show us where the aliens came from and how to get there, replied Dr. Nancy Green via video link. We now know the location of Zephyrian military bases, supply depots, and their home worlds. The implications were clear. Humans were no longer trapped on Earth fighting a defensive war. They were learning about galactic civilization and would soon have the technology to take the fight to their enemies. Back on Zentara, Council Leader Quanthari was reading the most recent intelligence report when an aide rushed into his office with urgent news. Sir, we have confirmed reports that humans have successfully modified Zephyrian faster-than-light drives. They may achieve interstellar capability within months. Quanthari felt a chill of fear. The galactic order that had existed for thousands of years was about to change forever. Humans were not just another primitive species to be conquered or ignored. They were becoming a threat to every established civilization in the galaxy. Contact all council members immediately, he ordered. We need to decide whether to help the Zephyrians destroy Earth or prepare to deal with humans as equals. The choice would determine the future of galactic civilization, and time was running out to make it. 6 months after the failed invasion began, Admiral Claire Watson stood on the bridge of the EFS Pioneer, humanity's first interstellar vessel. The ship was built using captured Zephyrian technology, but improved with human engineering. Claire looked out at the stars and knew that everything was about to change. Navigation, set course for the Zentara system, she ordered. It's time to introduce ourselves to the Galactic Council. The Pioneer had been constructed in secret using parts from dozens of captured alien ships. Dr. Nancy Green's team had not only figured out how faster-than-light travel worked, they had made it better. The human ship could travel farther and faster than any Zephyrian vessel. Captain Mike Turner stood beside Admiral Watson as Earth's first interstellar diplomat. He had been chosen for this mission because of his calm personality and ability to speak clearly under pressure. Today he would represent all of humanity before an alien government that had never expected to meet them as equals. Are you ready for this, Captain? Admiral Watson asked. As ready as anyone can be for making history, Mike replied with a nervous smile. Back on Earth, the war was essentially over. Commander Vexithala's invasion force had been reduced to a few scattered ships hiding in the outer solar system. Most Zephyrian soldiers were dead or captured. Earth cities were being rebuilt with hybrid human-alien technology that was superior to anything either species had created alone. Chief Engineer Ron Hayes was leading the reconstruction efforts from his headquarters in what used to be downtown Los Angeles. His teams were installing energy shields around major cities and building orbital defense platforms using improved Zephyrian designs. The aliens gave us a gift when they attacked, Ron explained to visiting reporters. They forced us to learn their technology and make it better. Now Earth is probably the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. The truth of his words would soon shock the Galactic Council. On Zentara, Council leader Quanthari was preparing for what might be the most important session in galactic history. Reports from the Zephyrian front had stopped coming weeks ago. The last transmission from Commander Vexithala had been a desperate request for evacuation that was never answered. "Sir, we have an unknown ship approaching the system," reported his aide urgently. "The design appears to be a hybrid of human and Zephyrian technology." Quanthari felt his heart skip a beat. The humans had done the impossible. They had not only survived a Zephyrian invasion, but gained interstellar travel capability. Now they were coming to Zentara. "Alert all council members immediately," he ordered, "and prepare our defense fleet just in case." The EFS Pioneer dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zentara system and immediately broadcasted a message on all diplomatic frequencies. Captain Mike Turner's voice carried across space with words that would echo through galactic history. "This is Captain Mike Turner of the Earth Federation ship Pioneer. We come in peace to establish formal diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council. We request permission to approach Zentara and address the Council Assembly." The message was received in stunned silence. For the first time in thousands of years, a previously unknown species was requesting council membership rather than being discovered and evaluated by existing members. Admiral Watson guided the Pioneer toward Zentara's orbital stations while dozens of alien ships shadowed them at a respectful distance. The alien crews were clearly nervous about the human vessel that seemed to combine the best features of multiple galactic technologies. "Their ship is reading more advanced than standard Zephyrian designs," reported a Dreknari sensor operator to his captain. "How is that possible?" The Galactic Council chamber had never seen an emergency session like this one. All 47 major species sent representatives, and the hall buzzed with nervous conversation in dozens of languages. Everyone wanted to see the humans who had defeated the mighty Zephyrian Empire. Captain Mike Turner entered the chamber wearing a simple Earth military uniform and carrying a diplomatic case containing evidence of Zephyrian war crimes. He walked calmly to the center of the vast hall and looked up at the alien delegates surrounding him. "Honored council members," he began in clear, measured tones. "I am Captain Mike Turner, speaking on behalf of the human species and the planet Earth. We come before you not as supplicants or conquered people, but as equals seeking recognition in the galactic community." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. No species had ever addressed the council with such confidence during their first contact. "The Zephyrian Empire invaded our world without provocation," Mike continued. "They offered us slavery or death. We chose a third option, victory." He activated a holographic projector that showed images of the failed invasion, captured Zephyrian ships, modified human technology, and battle footage that proved beyond doubt that humans had not only survived but won. "We present evidence of Zephyrian war crimes across the galaxy," Mike announced, opening his diplomatic case. "Our interrogation of prisoners revealed systematic genocide and enslavement of peaceful species. We demand justice for their victims." Council leader Quanthari stood slowly, his ancient voice carrying across the chamber. "Captain Turner, the Galactic Council recognizes your species' remarkable achievement. However, we must address the implications of your rapid technological advancement." "What implications?" Mike asked. General Corthan activated his own holographic display showing population projections and technology development curves. "Humans reproduce faster than any known intelligent species and adapt technology at unprecedented rates. If current trends continue, humanity could become the dominant galactic civilization within 50 years. The chamber fell silent as delegates absorbed this projection. The mathematics were undeniable. Humans were not just another member species. They were potentially the future rulers of the galaxy. Mike Turner smiled confidently. "General Corthan is correct. Humanity will continue growing and learning. We offer partnership to those who want it and protection to those who need it. But we will not be ignored or dismissed. Engineer Lisa Adams, who had accompanied the diplomatic mission, stepped forward with a demonstration device. "This is the improved Zephyrian energy shield generator," she announced. "Human modifications have increased efficiency by 40%, while reducing power requirements by half." She activated the device, creating a shimmering energy barrier that several alien scientists immediately recognized as superior to anything they had seen before. "We don't just adapt alien technology," Lisa explained. "We make it better." The demonstration proved what many council members had feared. Humans were not just learning galactic technology, they were surpassing it. President Helen Brooks appeared on the chamber's main display via faster-than-light communication. Her image filled the enormous screen as she addressed the assembled representatives of galactic civilization. "The Zephyrian Empire brought war to our world," she said firmly. "We brought peace to theirs. Their former territories are now under Earth's protection. Any species seeking freedom from oppression has sanctuary with humanity." The implications were staggering. Humans were not asking to join the galactic community. They were announcing that they had already become a major power and were offering to reshape the existing order. Council leader Quanthari realized that the age of Zephyrian dominance was over. A new era was beginning, and humanity would be its driving force. "The Galactic Council formally recognizes Earth as a sovereign power and humanity as a major galactic civilization," he announced reluctantly. Captain Mike Turner nodded politely. "We accept your recognition and look forward to peaceful cooperation with all species who share our values." Commander Vexithala, now a prisoner aboard a human ship, watched the ceremony from her cell and whispered the words that would define the new galactic age. "We should never have invaded Earth.